Morning, everyone who's joining. Looking forward to getting started in the next 3 minutes. Thank you, everyone who's joining. Good morning, Omar. Munir. Hi, everyone. Tell me where you are joining me from today. I'm here in the UAE. Where are you? Are you in Dubai? Joining from Dubai. I love it. Karachi, Zambia. Greece. Okay, love this. Dubai, Malta, South Africa, Sharjah, Dubai. I'm connecting with people all over the world this morning. Love this. I really love knowing where everyone's from. It just gives a really good perspective of, how people have found out about today's webinar and how you can be applying everything that I'm going to be sharing today about personal branding for your own personal brand. So I'm going to get going in just one more minute. I'm very well. Thank you for asking. Kenya, where else have we got? Who's tuning in from the furthest place today, virtually? Have we got anyone from the States? It's maybe a little bit too early. Good morning, everyone. Seda, how are you? Nice to see you. Russia, fabulous. Where else? I've got about 20 different destinations so far. Ukraine, Lebanon. Dubai says hello. Sure does. Riyadh, UAE. Got quite a few from South Africa. Islamabad. Welcome. Well, I love that everyone's getting into typing where they're from, because I really enjoy asking questions on a webinar. This is not just let me sit back and take all the content. I'm going to be getting you to do things, and I'm going to be coming in and out of the presentation, asking you questions. And at the very end, I want you to think about what's one thing you're going to action, one thing that you're going to action from everything that you've heard in today's presentation. I love doing these. I love sharing knowledge, but I love it even more when people go off and actually do something from what they've heard. So that's what I'm going to be looking for from you today. So paying some attention to which one of the personal branding pillars maybe that you are going to concentrate on over the next couple of weeks. I'll be here to answer any questions. My name's Kelly. For those that I haven't met, I've seen a few familiar names, so thank you for joining me. And if you're completely new, welcome. I'm originally from Edinburgh in Scotland. Dubai has been my home for the past 20 years. I'm starting to show my age now. And I'm going to get started in the next 15 seconds. So pen and paper to the ready. All right, let's get going. So we have over 100 people joining us this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn a little bit about building an authentic personal brand. I love this quote: your brand is the single most important investment you can make in your business. Why is it the most important investment? Well, here's the thing. Building your personal brand is something that is ongoing always. So everybody has a personal brand. It's just at this moment in time, you might not have a really clear strategy on actually what is personal branding, how does it differ from business branding, and what are some of the things that I need to be working on. So this is what I'm going to be talking about today. Where did it become reality for me? So my background, I mentioned that I've been in the Middle East for now over 20 years, but there were a couple of defining moments, and you often have them in business, and you can look back over reflection and go, where did it actually start? And the whole brand journey became really obvious to me at several points. So I've highlighted 3 here. When I first started my business, I knew one day I wanted to sell my business. So if you're sitting and joining this masterclass and you're thinking, do you know what? One day I'd really like to sell my business. It's imperative that you build equity in your personal brand. Why? Because if you sell your business, you still have your personal brand, you still have the value within your personal brand equity, even once your business is sold. So 20 years ago, I had this big dream that I wanted to sell a business, and that was what I started with. The second defining moment where I realized that a personal brand was imperative was when I got a phone call working for Harvey Nichols. So my very first business started in 2005. I launched the Middle East first personal shopping and styling agency. I'd come from a background of cabin crew. That's what brought me to the Middle East, to escape, shall we say, the Scottish cold weather. And it was just a gap that I had seen in servicing and supporting local people, expats, royalty, celebrities with styling, with their personal style, their personal brand. How do they show up? And when I got a phone call to work with Harvey Nichols, they asked me for a couple of really important things, and I'm going to be sharing this with you. Harvey Nichols asked me to send my business. They asked me to send my logo. They asked me to send my bio. They asked me to send all my collateral. And I did exactly that. And they came back to me and said, I'm afraid we can't use this. And I was like, why? What's wrong with it? And they said, as a brand, we only work with people. So building your business is a lot of collaborations. But here's the thing, a lot of businesses and media, which we'll get into further in this presentation, prefer or will only work with individual people. They won't work with businesses. So Harvey Nichols actually said to me, we can't work with you if this is the only collateral you have, because we're then promoting a business. We can only be seen to promoting people. So I needed to have a personal branded logo. I needed to have a personal branded bio. And this was back in 2008, 2009. And then the third sort of defining moment was I was here during the recession in 08, 09. And a big part, I believe, of being able to sustain when luxury was one of the first things that took a hit during the recession was I had a personal brand. I had personal relationships, I had connections, and I had value within it. So there are 3 really defining points why and how I got started in personal brand building in my business. So there was me back in 2003. That was what brought me to the Middle East. And actually, I recently wrote an article about how many similarities there are about being cabin crew and building your personal brand. So you can have a little look at that on my blog at kellylundbergofficial.com. So this was the first business. This was where it started. And then 15 years later, that goal that I had of selling my business actually became a reality. And what that meant was that then I could have my personal brand and decide what were my next steps. And my next steps were launching brand new creators. So I wanted to give you the 2 examples because it's a question I get a lot is, should I be working on my personal brand or should I be working on my business brand? I believe that there's space for both. Now, this depends what your personal brand is and your business is. So if you're operating a very personal coaching business and it's your name, then you only need one. However, if you have a business name and a personal brand, then they can run separate identities. And why that's important is because the Kelly Lundberg is the overarching umbrella for everything I do. Podcasting, blogs, everything's coming from my own personal opinion. Speaking opportunities, joining things like these presentations, all that comes from your personal brand. When I ask people here, if you've joined or you've seen something about today's presentation, the chances were you maybe saw it on my Instagram, you maybe saw it on my LinkedIn. That's my personal brand. So a really easy way to differentiate both your business and your personal. I want you to consider your business brand to be your invoicing brand. And I want you to think about your personal brand is the marketing machine behind it. So you've got your business, your invoicing. I do all my invoicing under my business, but Kelly Lundberg or Kelly Lundberg Official is what markets the business as well. So who already has a personal brand? This is a little bit of a trick question, because when I asked this, and I gave it away a little bit earlier, a lot of people say, oh, I don't have a personal brand, or I'm working on one. But the truth is, all of you have a personal brand. Every single one of you have a personal brand. On my Instagram account, kellylundberg.official, I actually shared a post about, does a teenager have a personal brand? And the answer is yes. If anyone's interested, you can have a little look at that reel. So what is a personal brand, to give you some perspective on how it relates to you? And then I'm going to be sharing my formula that's going to make it really easy for you to be thinking about the things that you need to be actively working on to build your personal brand. So it's that amalgamation of your online and offline persona and how it's perceived by others. More importantly, how do people feel when they come into contact with something that you say or do? And that's online, and it's also offline and in person. How do people feel when they come into contact with you? What are they thinking? So before we get into the formula, I feel that there's a few questions and myths I need to debunk around personal branding. Having been in the business now for over sort of 5 or 6 years, and in the fashion industry of personal branding for the last 20, these are things that I've heard a lot that I want to squash right now. And when we get into the formula, everything's going to make a lot more sense. So personal branding is not only for celebrities. A lot of people think it's only for famous people. I don't need a personal brand because I've only got a small business or I'm just beginning. No, everyone has a personal brand, and it's not just for celebrities. It's also not just for outgoing people. Something I hear a lot is people say to me, but I'm very reserved, or I'm shy, or I don't like talking about myself. And I understand that, but there are ways, trust me, I've worked with numerous clients who label themselves as being shy or as being reserved, and they still have a very successful personal brand. It's not a popularity contest or a vanity exercise. So when you Google yourself, that's just being smart. That's just finding out what is already on the internet. What could other people find? If there's something that you don't like, then you can get rid of it. If there's more things you need to add to it, it just gives a really good starting platform. And I suggest you be looking at Googling yourself. If you've done it once before, you need to make sure that you go incognito and do it on a fresh page so that people don't know about it, or so that the search engine doesn't know that you've already Googled yourself, so that you can see new things that actually come up. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have. People say, oh, well, I'll start working on it next year when my children have gone to school or when my business is bigger. No, it's a must-have, and it's not for something to be working on later. It's also not something that competes with your business. I hear this a lot. Oh, but I don't want it to compete with my business. I want my business to be my business. I don't want it to be about me. But it doesn't. People buy from people that they know, like, and trust. Nor is your business a place for you to hide behind your personal brand. So the type of clients that I work with are those that are maybe starting out in their business journey and they need to really build that credibility and visibility. Or they've been in business for the past 5 or 10 years, but they haven't invested any time. They've got zero value in their personal brand equity, and they need to start making a conscious plan to add value into it. So it's not a place for you to hide. Your personal brand isn't just setting up a page on social media. I heard that a lot of time. Oh, my personal brand is done now. I've got an Instagram page, or I'm posting on LinkedIn. It's just the beginning. It's just one of the pillars that you're going to see in just a moment. Equally, it's not just a logo. I've heard that before. Oh, I've done my personal branding. Here's my logo and my branding guidelines. It's not the colors. Absolutely. Visual identity has a compound effect on how people perceive your brand. So great colors that suit you, that work for your personality, all contribute to an excellent personal brand, but it's not just about that. You'll not see overnight success. So I use this sort of metaphor that your personal brand is like having a long-term savings account. Okay. So if you look at your personal brand like a long-term savings account, the more that you pitch and the more that you save, the better returns you have on your long-term savings account. Your personal brand is the same. It doesn't require you to be spending 20 hours a week on it. It could be as simple as 10 minutes a day. It could be 1 hour at the weekend. So it's just that consistent effort will bring you results. Trust me, so many to share with you in the next 30 minutes. Your personal brand isn't about you. So this is something that actually confuses people because they're like, Kelly, hang on a minute. You've just been saying your personal brand is about you. It is and it isn't. So what do I mean? So there's two types of people that have personal brands. There's people that have personal brands that deliver value, that engage. And then you have other people that have personal brands that go, I'm amazing and I can do this and I'm this and I'm that. What personal brand are you drawn to? The one that brings the value and brings the education, brings the personal stories, and is relatable. The one that is I, which then, and I'm saying your personal brand isn't about you. So it's about finding this really nice balance in being able to talk about your achievements, but also to be able to deliver great value, knowledge, and be that person that people really want to come in contact with, that first impression. So people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And this became even more evident sort of during the pandemic, where there was so much more need for transparency. People wanted to know where they were spending their money, who they were communicating with. And it's really interesting from a business capacity now, you know, that personal posts versus a business post will actually get 24 more times engagement than something that's posted on a company page, which means a lot of companies have actually picked up on this and they are really pushing their employees to repost a lot of business stuff. But equally, that then becomes inauthentic as well. So remember the balance between how do you promote your personal brand with value add, not just reposts, and then how do you build something that's then not all about you? So people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. They want the relatability. So couple of little examples I wanted to demonstrate here of the personal versus business. Now, I took these screenshots from Instagram because I thought each of them answer a very particular question. So Virgin Atlantic actually has a really good, engaging account. It's interesting, it's funny, it's relatable, but the bottom line is more people would rather know what Richard Branson's up to on Necker Island. Now, this is not for you to go and buy fake followers because the key is engagement. This is just to give you the comparison between personal pages and business pages. Again, people ask me when it comes to social media and building their personal brand, should they build a business one or should they have a personal one? The personal one is always much easier and much more relatable for you to grow your account. So I would always start with that one. I thought this was interesting. So the reason I picked Elon Musk was because a lot of people have said to me, oh, but it's all about the posts that you shared and they've got to be carefully curated. No, as you can see, they're exactly the same pictures here versus on a business page and a personal page. But you can see what people are much more inclined to engage with. And then you've got even the king of content, Gary Vee, who very much owns his own personal brand. But the difference between his business account, he knows all the tips and techniques to be building a page on social media. It's his agency. But more people would rather engage on the personal perspective. Now, the next one I thought was really interesting. So Sarah Blakely is the founder of Spanx. She, a few years ago, sold her last stake in ownership. She's become the first female billionaire, self-made billionaire through building her business. Now, what was really interesting about her pages was the following was fairly similar, and it's gone up considerably now. But at the time I screenshotted this, it was very similar. However, the engagement was 30 times, 40 times more on our own page. than it was on the Spanx page. And what was quite interesting about Sarah in the last year was she recently sold the final stake in Spanx. And what went viral in all the media was not just the sale, was actually the personal thing that she did with the sale. She gifted all of her employees, and there was over 200 at the time, 2 first-class flight tickets and 10,000 US dollars to spend on a holiday of their choice. So the sale went into all the business publications, the financial newspapers, but then the extra reach with the personability, or the personal side and the relatability, was about what she had done for all her employees. So what is the formula? So over the past 20 years working in personal branding, launching businesses, selling businesses, building my own personal brand, there's been a lot of trial and error. I've got 7 really clear pillars to share with you. And out of these 7 pillars, I'm going to come in and ask you which one you're going to be working on over the next few weeks. So first of all, strategy. With anything, where you're starting and where you need to go, you need to have a little bit of a clear goal and a plan. Well, that's really what I'd like you to think about today. What are some of the goals that you would like to achieve with your personal brand? You might not know all the answers on how to get to them. Your goal might be, I want to get to 2,000 connections on Instagram. Oh, okay. Or it could be, or on LinkedIn, for example, but you maybe don't know exactly right now how you're going to do it. You can go and research that. But start with, what are some of the things that you think are important to you in your business or in your career? Something that I start with a lot of clients is getting them really clear on their elevator pitch, on their messaging, who you are, who do you help? It's one thing that a lot of people find really challenging to do when they're in their own business. They're like, yeah, but I can do everything. I get that. But what is something that is simplified so that other people can actually refer clients to you, or other people can talk about what you do? So I help entrepreneurs, CEOs, and athletes build their personal brand strategy, online and offline, to boost their financial income, their inspire, their impact, their income. It's as simple as that. So then people know, okay, if someone's an entrepreneur, maybe they're a CEO, then Kelly can help. So try and keep it really clear and simple. Why don't you right now write in the chat box what your elevator pitch is? 1 sentence, maximum 2. I'll have a little read of those when I come out and ask the next question. So I'll give you something to think about that elevator pitch. You also want to have some clarity in your numbers. So where is it that you want to go in your business? Where is it you want to go in your personal brand? The clarity in numbers piece is very much, people underestimate how they can actually monetize their personal brand. There is so much value in a monetary sense in your personal brand that you don't even know about yet. So you can be thinking about, how can I be monetizing my personal brand? What are some of the things that I can be doing to build this? It's an example of one of my clients, Christiana. So Christiana approached me a couple of years ago and had said she had this idea. She wanted to be Dubai's first matchmaker. And we set about creating a really clear, strong strategy for her to achieve this. And when you really take action and you work consistently on something, these are the kind of results you get. And in less than 11 months, she'd got newspaper articles. She'd been featured in numerous radio interviews, podcasts. Her business had grown, and then she had actually within 3 months left her job and grown her business massively. And it's evolved so much over the past 2 years. But when you make a really clear plan, these are the kind of results you can be getting and more. Okay, so that's the first piece. Then we've got stationery. So that's the second S. They all begin with S's, so keep it easy for you. Brand you, your personal brand stationery. So when I say stationery, it doesn't necessarily mean pens, although it can be. What I mean about this is sort of all your collateral that come into a touch point with a potential client or with someone that you want to do business with. So some of the things here you can see on the page: you've got email signatures, you've got website, you have podcast covers, you've got collateral. I'm just looking to see if I've got things around me here. I use a lot of collateral in my business that acts as ads, that acts as touch points in order to communicate with people, tell people what it is that you do. Often when you have a service, it can be quite challenging to tell people what you do via a picture. Whereas if you actually have collateral, then it can help. This is an example of one that I hand out on masterclasses. I have personal brand audits. I've got planning booklets, all of these kind of things. That's all under your stationery. What's one thing that you can see consistently on all of this? It's really important. One thing that could be part of your stationery, start of your personal brand that you can see on each of these. And I'm going to come in and see who can get the right answer. Okay, so we've got a few. I love it. We've got them. Brilliant. That's quite a long. Yes, excellent. We've got the answer. Your image. Absolutely. Your image is portrait shots, pictures. If you do not have content in the sense of pictures that you can share on your social media, then it makes it really challenging to be able to be visible. Okay, the purpose of growing your personal brand is visibility, it's credibility. If you don't have high resolution images that can accompany your email signature, your website, your podcast, supporting journalists, then it can be a really tough position to actually position yourself up there. So when we Google at the very end, you're going to get the opportunity to Google yourself. One of the things that I want you to check is how many images come up. If I was to say to you, there's over 120 people on here today. If I was to say to you today, I can get you featured in a publication. Can you send me 5 high-resolution portrait images and 5 high-resolution landscape images? Who could provide that to me right now? Put yes, so I'm looking for horizontal. I'm looking for portrait. Who can provide that for me? I take it by no one's putting it in. I can. Okay. Tani can. Yes. Aisha can. Raquel, that might be something that you need to work on in terms of your personal brand strategy. API said no. Abdul, Grace has said yes. I don't have that. I can. Now, if I was to throw into the mix, I could provide 3 of each. Then if I was to say, if they were done in the last 12 months, okay, if it's something that's done in the last 12 months, again, you're building your credibility, 1 in the last 12 months. Okay, so that might be something excellent. Tini, it's still something that you can do. 3 years ago, that was the last one I saw there. Years and years and years ago, I'll let you in on a quick story there. Emirates Woman, which is a local fashion magazine. It was one of the very first publications that ever came to me to say, we'd love to feature you. And I was like, amazing. They said, could you send me what I just asked you there, some high resolution images? I was like, this is 2005. I had no idea what high resolution images were at the time. So of course I went to Google and asked Google, what are high resolution images? It said, high quality images taken with a camera. You've got to remember, days before a phone camera. And I was like, okay, I've got this. So I took my camera that I'd just been on holiday to Hawaii with. I deleted the images. I was living on Shakeside Road at the time, because pretty much everyone did 25 years ago. And I was friends with the security guard. And I asked him, would he mind taking some pictures of me? And then I instructed him that if we went outside, it would be better quality because it was natural daylight. I think I'd read that in the Google research. Anyway, I sent that back to Emirates Woman. You can only imagine the reply that I got from them when they underlined bold professional images. And I remember the first time I paid for them. So what would that be? 2005. I remember I went to Stu Williams, and at the time, I think it was 2,500 dirhams. I paid for 6 images. I was like, this is so much money. But it was the best investment I ever made. And nowadays, with social media and the opportunities and cameras, there's a lot more, but there's definitely a space in having professional images to hand. And this is just an example. Another one of my clients, that when you've got consistent branding. So this is one of our clients that we designed her website for. We did her email signature, her logo, supported her through her entire personal brand strategy, Nadine. And you can see when it all looks cohesive, how much it just elevates the brand. To give you some ideas. Okay, social media. So remember when I said that social media is just one pillar? There's 7 pillars. We're on pillar number 3 now. What I need you to think about here is what's your primary platform and what is your secondary platform. So for me, my primary platform to communicate to my audience, to share value, is Instagram. I love it. I've been on it the longest. And I think that's coming from a fashion background. Opened up so many opportunities to me when it comes to personal branding, but actually business. So many people find out about my mentoring programs, my courses, my business through Instagram. My secondary platform is LinkedIn. I also love LinkedIn. Different style of communication, but I love the professional aspect to it. I love the value add to it. And I love that I get to connect with different people. For someone who is in the speaking industry, so I go into a lot of corporate organizations and I speak on my niche, which is personal branding, whether it's public speaking, whether it's style, whether it's the overall aspect of personal branding. A lot of my business comes through LinkedIn for that. And they're looking for someone who has maybe been a TEDx speaker or someone who actually says they are a speaker within that niche. It's searchable. Other aspects that you might want to consider, depending on your business, is Pinterest and YouTube. Now, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and YouTube, they're all SEO optimized, which means when you type in your name, you are actually going to find the chances are LinkedIn is going to come up on the first page. If you don't have a personal branded page, LinkedIn's going to come up first. If not, then you might find YouTube when you click on videos when we do our search. So there's platforms and opportunities for many different styles of personality. So maybe if you're more shy and reserved, LinkedIn could be a really good platform for you because it's where, sort of longer form content is delivered. It's where, building relationships, you're networking online. So that can be done more in a sort of the environment of your own home versus maybe something like YouTube where you have to be putting out video content. I mean, Facebook, depending on your business, might be really big. TikTok, the growth in that is insane. And so many people still think like LinkedIn is only looking for jobs. It's not. TikTok's only for young people. It's not. It really has become a bit of a searchable or a search engine opportunity for people to look at. How do you do something? How do you build your personal brand? How do I grow my TikTok followers? How do I become a personal trainer? All of this you will find on TikTok. You've got Twitter, you've got Threads. So it can be incredibly overwhelming. And I always say, look for your primary and secondary platforms. And then whatever time you have above and beyond, then you can look at other places. Love this little video I'm going to share with you. So this is a perfect example. When I talk about how I help clients with their personal brand strategy, and it is to help them to increase their influence, increase their impact, and their income. Influence, impact, and income. Whether you're an employee or whether you're an entrepreneur, all of these things that we're talking about today, and this is a very big overview of building a personal brand. With clients, I go much more into detail. So Barbara was one of my clients, and I wanted to share her case study because it had a profound impact on her life. And the reason being was she was looking for a job. She'd got made redundant quite suddenly, and she'd been while we were working together, she'd been applying for a huge number of jobs with a lot of rejections. And when she came to me and said, Kelly, no, it's getting serious, I really need to find something, I said, we need to focus on a clear personal brand strategy for you and your career growth. So I suggested that she go and buy hirebarbara.com. Now, I knew that she could design a Wix website because I'd been working with her on her side business, and I knew that she'd got a great eye for detail. So she went off, bought the domain name, and designed her website. It had a downloadable CV. It had all her achievements on it. So that was step one. Then step two, I suggested that she create a reel or a short video, being very authentic. And you'll see from the post here that she actually shared the formula that we use, HIC, hook, information, call to action. She did everything to the point. Here's the video. And then what I want you to do in the chat box is I want you to type in how many views you think this video got.
Over 3 months ago, I lost the job. Since then, I received a lot of emails like that. So now I decided a little bit different approach. I created this website, hirebarbara.com. Without even downloading my CV, you can see my main achievements and what I'm all about. So if you're looking for a creative employee like me, get in touch.
So I'm going to come into the chat box now, and I want to know, okay, so we've got 33,000, 100,000, 2 million, 500. Any other takers? Because no one's got it right yet. 20,000, 10 million, 2 million, none. It's not very optimistic. Okay, Vimla, you are the closest. You are the closest. She got over 4.4 million views. So every single day she sent me updates on this. And on the third day, she sent me this voice note, and she said, Kelly, I think we broke LinkedIn. And, you know, the results that came out of this were outstanding. So she got over 60 job opportunities. And when I say opportunities, some were coffees, some were Zoom catch-ups, some were interviews, but it really created a momentum that had been quite stagnant, and also really gave her a massive boost in confidence as well. And it resulted in her getting a job, and one that paid more than the one that she had been made redundant from. So how can it, working on your personal brand, increase your influence, your impact, and your income? Well, it absolutely can. So into the next pillar, spotlight. So far we've had strategy. Okay, we've had social media, we've had stationery. Now we've got spotlight. So spotlight is about getting the spotlight on you and finding something that the media are interested in that's a real personal connection. Here's the thing, when it comes to getting coverage, there's a couple of ways you can go about it. When I say coverage, other online publications, print publications, blogs, podcasts, radio. There's the element of you launching something completely new, which is quite rare nowadays. If it's so new, it's just your take on it might be new. But what people are really interested in is you. So you'll see the bottom right-hand corner, you've got Winnie there. So Winnie was on, she's been in several radio interviews actually, and she launched her own fashion label. And she was in her 50s. She lives here in the UAE actually. She just opened a boutique. But what the piece that really attracted people to her story was not necessarily the fashion label, because lots of people set up fashion labels, was that she'd done a complete 360 in her 50s and gone, do you know what? This is what I want to do. I'm going to go and pursue my dreams, and I really want to give this a go. So what is the personal piece that you can think about that people can be interested in that is relatable? So I experienced this firsthand about 15 years ago now. So I published a book back in 2009 called Success in the City. Dubai entrepreneurs tell their story. And I interviewed 20 entrepreneurs because I was so inspired by other people that had started something from scratch that I wanted to write about them. And when the book was ready, media were interested in doing some coverage on it. So Grazia in particular picked up this story and wanted to do a 4-page feature on me. Now, don't worry, I had got my professional pictures sorted by this point. And they had said to me, we'd love to know more about the book. So of course I made it all about them, all about all the other people that were in the book, not to do with me. So when I went to pick up the article for those that are in Dubai on Awaso Road for 2009, the big spinnies on Awaso Road, there's a Magrudi's in that. I went in there because it wasn't online at the time. And I was horrified because this was the title that they went with. And I was like, but I didn't say that. But I understand why they went with it. From air hostess to author. Well, I was mortified because I was like, I didn't say that. But they had looked at what their audience would resonate with. And their audience would resonate with what they thought was an inspiring story that someone who was cabin crew once, who was working for another organization, corporate, left and went to do something else. So they went with this. Now, I understand that now, being in personal branding. I did not understand that at the time. And I had... it's actually the one publication that I never kept, ever. And now I tell everyone about it. So it's just funny how things can all come roundabout again. So yeah, there you go. Okay, next pillar. I'm keeping my eye on the time. I don't want to take more of it. Brand you speaking. So this is the next pillar. So speaking one-to-many rather than one-to-one is the fastest way to grow your credibility and your visibility because you are perceived as the expert. If you're standing or sitting, as I am now, sharing knowledge, then people automatically assume that you are an expert in what you do because you wouldn't be talking about it otherwise. But speaking also means meetings, speaking up, hosting Instagram or Facebook lives, LinkedIn lives. I don't know why more people don't do that because your audience is there. And especially on LinkedIn, it's a very organic algorithm. The space that it is in right now, you could get great reach from this. Doing webinars, so many of my clients, when we're working together as part of their strategy, the goal is to host their very own online masterclass, in-person masterclass, and start practicing. It's a skill that's learnable. And it is something that if you're looking to grow your personal brand, it's something that needs to be focused on. Stephen Bartlett, for those, I saw someone was in from Birmingham. Stephen Bartlett is an entrepreneur that's in the UK. He's on Dragon's Den, which for those that are maybe outside the UK is Shark Tank's equivalent, where people go in and pitch. So he's one of the investors. He has a number of businesses and he's released a book. He's actually got a second one coming out, but the one that I read was Happy Sexy Millionaire. And he talked a lot about that in his book about personal branding. And he did a LinkedIn video that sort of backed this up. And I thought this was really fascinating, that he said that 70% of new business leads were coming through people who had watched him speak on stage and watched videos online. 70% of business leads. That's your personal brand. So next level was this. So remember I said to you about influence, your impact, and income. 70% of the revenue had come from some kind of personal brand initiative. So if you're looking to grow your business, this is definitely an area that can be worked on and has a real ROI, a real tangible ROI. And here's some of my lovely clients that have, for the very first time, hosted their own masterclass and built up a community of sharing value. So can be hugely profitable. If you're doing your own masterclass, your own webinar, it can be an opportunity to meet people. It can be the opportunity to sell. It can be the opportunity to have companies pay for it and go in. And companies will pay anything from $500 to, I've got clients that are getting paid over $10,000 for speaking opportunities. So that's where the monetization of your personal brand can really come in. All right, so we've got 2 more pillars to go and we've got 15 minutes. So style. Well, I could not develop an entire system for building and profiting out of your personal brand without mentioning one of the areas that I spent a considerable amount of time. So that was in styling. That was your personal brand, the first impression. People think it's just about clothes, and it's so much more than that. So your personal style is your presentation, how you come across online from your photographs, but also offline when you meet people. I went in recently to an office and they didn't know I was coming in, but I went in and I have to say I was a little surprised. There was a lot of flip-flops, yes, with socks, yes, and just quite interesting dress codes. So I feel at this stage, if you're looking to really build your credibility, your personal style, how you come across is really important. Your body language. So style is not just what you wear, it's your communication style. What are your emails like? How do you communicate with someone? Over email? How do you communicate with them in a WhatsApp message? How do you make people feel? This is the whole perspective of looking at it in one detail. Style. And then the final pillar is how can you stand out? So a lot of people say to me at this point, well, it's about having amazing customer service or about, being the best you can be. Absolutely. But I believe that there are additional aspects that will help you stand out in your personal brand growth. That is winning awards. Okay. Because that then sets you apart from other people, maybe other people within your niche. If you've won awards, then winning an award means that maybe your competitor doesn't have one. Maybe it's taking the time to write a handwritten note or a gift of something. It might even be along the lines of showcasing what values and charities you're aligned with, because that then showcases a side to your personal brand that people can relate to, that's not about business, because not everyone wants to do business every single day. You might want to, but not everyone does. This is Sarah from the Sparkle Foundation, a registered charity here in the UAE. I visited Malawi last year, and it really gave me an opportunity to dive into the incredible work that she'd done over the past 10, 12 years, feeding over 15,000 children and supporting thousands of children and families through really challenging times. There's sustainability. How in your personal brand are you, how sustainable are you being? In the Edo movement, Santaya is actually one of our clients, and she says that these tags get a lot of reposts because it's different. And the seeds, you plant them in a little pot and then they grow into a plant. So where are you standing out, or how can you stand out within your personal brand? You are who Google says you are. So what I would love for you to do right now, I'm going to give you 1 minute. I would love for you to grab your phone and go into Google, and I want you to type your name into Google, and I want you to count how many images there are. I want you to count how many videos there are and how many articles there are. So how many pictures, how many articles, and how many videos there are. So come into the chat box, have a little Google. If it's more than 10, just put 10 plus, that's okay. Just have a quick glance. You can go back and do this properly and study it, but come in and tell me how many pictures, how many videos, how many article links that's maybe not your website, that someone else is talking about you. That's what I'd love to see. All right, I'm going to come into the chat box in 20 seconds. I'm also going to take a quick picture for social media. There we go. If you have taken any pictures today, feel free to tag me in, kellylundberg.official, and I will repost them. Okay, so what have we got? What have been some of the results? Right, we have got 2 photos, 42,000 videos. Wow, that's really good. 6, 10, 0 images, 5 articles, 0 videos. Okay, 1 picture. Okay, so maybe we're seeing actually what are some of the things that we need to be working on when it comes to your personal brand strategy. Maybe you need to get new images. Maybe you need to be focusing on creating video content so that people can relate to what it is that you're doing. No visibility. Okay, well, the whole point of doing this and joining is to identify where are you now and where do you need to go. So that's something for you to consider after today. So what I would love to know is what action you are going to take right now. What action are you going to take from this masterclass today in the general sense of personal branding? One thing that you're going to do. If anyone wants to know about personal branding in more detail, I've got a quiz which you can download on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn. Take the quiz and see how you do. Let me know. Thank you for inspiring me to be the best version of myself. I love that. I did the quiz and I got 0%. Post testimonials. Find an expert like you to make a plan. Absolutely, I can help you with that. Can you give me the link here? I will do that now. I'm going to go and narrow my niche down and develop thought leadership pieces. Okay, great. Best way to reach out, Instagram. Come and say hi on Instagram to me, kellylundberg.official. I apply. I have a verified account. You'll follow me. If you are, you'll see the journey that I'm going on of starting from scratch. Okay, let me just get the link for you all. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 minute and come in. And I'll share the link for you all here for you to take the quiz. And yeah, if there's any other way, has anyone got any questions? I'm going to get my professional pictures taken and improve my style. Okay, I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, here is the link coming for you. Me to host and panelists. Let me see. I don't think it's going to allow me to do that for everyone. Let me just see now. Yeah, I've shared it. Best place to go is come and say hi to me on Instagram. That's the best thing to do. And we can organize how to have a call with you and how to connect. I'm going to work towards my personal branding from September. Okay, one thing. What's the one thing you're going to do in September? Having to rethink a lot. Give me one thing that you're going to action. I love it. We've got a lot of photo shoots up. I'm going to take professional pictures. That's just to host and panelist and to tech team. For some reason, I can't seem to share it all for you. Excellent. Well, I'm going to say it was an absolute pleasure. I have loved sharing value with you. And I just love when people get excited about their personal brand. So thank you so much. I'm seeing the things coming in. You're most welcome. You're most welcome, everybody. It's been my pleasure. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll chat to you on Insta. See ya.